In case you hadn't noticed, we just wrapped 3 placeholders inside each other to come to one result. I'm hoping by now you see it's actually not that hard. Just work from the inside to the outside. So let's move on to the next part. I also want to see in my overview here the time since the element was last changed. So for that, let's open up the group shape for my specific element, and I'll just add some new shape text. And of course, I want to see the time since last state change. So I actually want to see how long my element has been stable. For that, I can leverage a property called state changed, which is a default property for your elements. And this one outputs a datetime. So let's save it and take a look at what we get. So here you can see time since last state change. Of course, this is not the time since, but this is just the actual time of the last state change, which is almost 4 years ago. At least for this channel. Here it's 1 second less. So we have that, and actually now I want to make sure this counts correctly and it updates all the time. So we will be using again the DataMiner time placeholder, but also the subtract placeholder, because we want to subtract the current DataMiner time. We want to subtract this from the current DataMiner time, so that eventually we have a counter, a time span of how long it's been since the last change. So let's do that. We want the subtract placeholder, and as I showed you on docs earlier, it takes in any amount of arguments. I will use the DataMiner time placeholder, so yet another placeholder in here, and I will subtract the DataMiner time placeholder with the result of the property state changed placeholder. Let's close the entire thing up and take a look at the result. And we can see we actually now have a counter constantly updating. Isn't that nice? Of course, it does not look all too great. We have a long amount of days here, which is unclear because it's just separated by a dot, and then we have some counters. So let's give it a nice format, which means at the end of the subtract, we can add a pipe. Format equals, and then the format we want needs to be in days. So first off, dd is the amount of days we have in a time span. And then we need to escape pretty much everything we have here. So that's just the space that I'm escaping here. Then the amount of days, all escaped, so that it just prints out space days, another escaped space, and then again I want some formatting, namely the amount of hours, an escaped colon, the amount of minutes, another escaped colon, and then the amount of seconds. Let's save that, and we can now see we get a nice printed out space days here, and a nice counter that keeps ticking. So that's 2 changes down. Let's make one more.